So if you are on this view, we're still on the analyzing test view. You see we changed now from note to clip in the bottom corner there. And then what's the easiest way to create a clip? That's something that we were asking ourselves, because very often you're watching a user test video, something very interesting is happening, but you don't really want to fiddle around with some controls and set the exact timestamp. So, and those are tiny things. And I know some people might even think like, well, really, you're just trying to sell us the clips feature now, and you're selling it with so much hyperbole, like hyperbole, that's I think the word. So, and yes, I am doing it because I think it's that important, because if you have any friction in your tool, people are going to use it less. And if they're using it less, obviously going to get less value out of it also. So what's the easiest way to create a clip? You just click the button, create a clip. And what happens? There's a clip added. It didn't need a description. You didn't need to do anything. And automatically it starts 15 seconds before you hit the button and 15 seconds after you hit the button. So whenever you find something interesting, you don't even need to hit it exactly. If you heard something 10 seconds ago in a user test and you're just coming back from a different browser tab, for example, because you're in there, just go in, click create a clip, and this marker is kind of set there. And this is something that you can work with later. You can obviously edit it, or you can do something with it. Or what we just realized analyzing, the first few usage data that we get from customers now is that about a third of our customers are using empty clips actually. So they don't even need descriptions. They're really just trying to get the short clip video. So that's interesting to see and good also to know that, well, we could have done it in a way where we demand a clip needs a description. It has to have a start time. It has to have an end time. Very dogmatic about this. If you don't have that, you can't create a clip. But then what would happen? You won't create clips. And if you're familiar with other user testing tools, or similar software applications, you're probably aware of this issue. So in this case, we don't demand anything. It's a click of a button, you have a clip. Okay. Of course, you can also, add a description there. And unlike with notes, where with notes, once you start typing, the timestamp is set. So like that's annotated note taking. With clips, it's like you just start typing, the time's still running there. And then you can manually say, well, I want to click on start now. This sets the start time. And then the video plays in the background, you're listening to it, you're like, okay, maybe you look at the transcript and say, well, that's the point where, that's how long I want to have my clip. Then you set the end timestamp, create the clip, and it's there. What's interesting about this is we were firstly thinking obviously about, a timeline solution where you have some visuals where you can see on your timeline certain things, where's a clip, and you can drag and drop it there. And we might do things like this in the future. That's actually up to you. That's up to, your feedback and how you are all using it, and obviously also how we're using it, because we're very heavy users of Userbrain as well. So that might change in the future, but we saw like that's a simple solution, and we can go with it for now. You just have to text start time, end time, create a clip. It's there. Obviously, you can edit the clip, play around, change the time, you save the clip, and then the clip is saved, and that's everything. Now, the next thing I want to show you here quickly is what can you do with clips? So of course you can delete it, you can edit it, but what's really interesting about clips is sharing it, because that's the whole idea. I try not to repeat myself anymore, but again, that's why we think clips are so important, because they actually get the information that's important and relevant to the people who actually need it. So that's the sharing. Before we look into that in more detail, I'm just going to show you quickly what happens with clips. So if you create the clips, analyzing all your different user tests, you can see the clips here in a list. And then in this case, for example, I used a few hashtags also. And what I can do here is I have these filters on top where, for example, there's a special task that I'm very interested in, where there are, some clips that I might want to share with people. Or in this case, for example, text. So what I did there is, open the filter and I looked at all the texts that are kind of negative, like user frustration, user confusion, usability issue, and just filtered those. So I see like a list of all the problems that I found, a list of all the problems that I find worth being shared with people. So that's already kind of a useful feature there. And what's nice about this is you can see, if you look at the address field in your browser, you can see that the URL has actually changed based on your filters. So here you can see text, user frustration, it's all set in the filter, which is very convenient, because now I can just take this link and just share it with my team already, or with someone who's with me in this account, and they can see the exact filter and I can pinpoint them to a page. It's a very tiny thing. It's a very, very tiny thing. But something that we thought like that's important already in version 1. So we don't have a visual drag and drop to create your clips and to just start and end time, although that would be obvious to many people maybe. We didn't need that, but we thought like, if we have these filters there, we need to have the filters also in the URL so you can actually share it with your team. Another thing here, for example, I set the filter for this confirmation email issue, because here what we do is a Userbrain homepage test. We actually started it last week because I think as every other product team on this planet, and I think it's not an exaggeration if I say it like this, but I'm open to your feedback, obviously. But I think the issue we all have is we're completely overwhelmed. We're drowning in data. It's like there's 10 million things we should be doing. We know that there's so many issues and problems. We don't know where to start. And an assumption that we had last week in a meeting when we were sitting together. So we meet once a week, the 4 co-founders, and we discuss, the product. We discuss the whole company and, some also philosophical things in regards to what we're doing there at work. And one thing that we realized is, well, many people are not doing user testing because they say, it's enough already. I don't need even more insights. Please stop it. Please stop me overwhelming me with information. So now our assumption is actually, if you do Userbrain tests, you have our pool of testers obviously there. I don't know if we've mentioned already or if you're all familiar with this, but we have a pool of about 120,000 testers at the moment worldwide. So you can test with them. And if those people are doing these tests and running into issues, you can be sure that, well, those are the major issues, That's a big problem because this person is actually capable of recording their own screen and thinking out loud while they're doing a user test. If there's 2 or 3 of them having issues with our homepage, that's the problem we should focus on first, not all the other things. So we're using Userbrain in a way where we're trying to, leverage it as a way to actually tell us what matters, because that's what I find we really want to do, because there's too much noise already anyway. So that's how we're using this. So that's why I did this homepage test there. And what I found is there's some kind of email issue, some kind of email confirmation issue. And the good thing now here, I have this tag, and here I can just share this with Matthias, who I know is the person who could actually solve this issue. I don't need to discuss this issue in a meeting yet. It's not interesting. I don't need to include it in a report. I could, if I didn't have anything else to do, I would probably create a report out of it and make a presentation or whatever. But in this case, I just share this link with him, and he can have a look at it. And the way it works with sharing is, it's a very simple view that we also created here. You will see, like, that's what we're really trying to do. Make things so simple that you actually look at them and feel like, well, why is he hyping it so much? It's so simple. And that's it. It's so simple. It's so obvious, but it takes a lot of work to get there, as many of you will obviously know. But anyway, sorry. If you share a clip, there's 2 ways to do it. One is you can share it with an restricted access, or you can make it available to anyone. And that's something we learned the hard way actually in our consulting business. Like, you can do a brilliant job at analyzing your user test, and everything's wonderful, and you want to share your results. But if you want to share anything with someone who needs to create an account to actually look at the results, they're probably not going to do it too often, especially those people who are important. So there needs to be this access for anyone version of it. How it works, I'm going to show you now. So this is the page you see when you share a clip. And what you notice is, like, it was this 3.5-minute clip in a 15-minute video or so on. So we only sent this clip. And if you look at it, we try not to include, or we're not including any sensitive data. So no tester name, no age, no demographics or anything, because we want this to be shared with anyone. And if there's personal information about anyone, it might be a bit difficult to share. So this way, you don't need to worry about it too much. You don't need to care about it. You can just take the link, share it, especially in this case, it's internal link. So that's not going to be too much of an issue anyway, because you can see people also have the option to watch the entire video, because that's the idea. If you already have a team who is, interested in the user testing and interested in what you're doing there, and they're already invited to Userbrain, they have an account, you can send them this link. And through these clips that are pinpointing really important and very specific areas that are interesting to certain kind of people, that's how you get them in. So clips are your springboard into actually engaging with all the beautiful research that people out there are doing with Userbrain. So from here on, you can watch the entire video. What happens if you share the link with anyone? We remove the button below, so you can't access the entire video anymore. Again, there's no personal information. There's nothing that's kind of critical to share with anyone. You can just go ahead and share this with anyone who's needs to see it. So that's what we really tried to do here, and that's also the reason why the design is the way it is. That's why we don't include user avatars or whatever.